Dak Prescott had an awful performance in the Dallas Cowboys' embarrassing loss against the Green Bay Packers, and CeeDee Lamb's mother took to Facebook to call out Dak Prescott. So this is CeeDee Lamb's mother, and she went on Facebook and said, "Dak isn't it!" Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. And then you had somebody in the comment section saying, "Tell the youngin' to come to the home team. CJ will love him." And she responds, "Shit, I wish he would. CJ is great." So Dak Prescott is getting dumped on by his best receiver's mother. And this is a little bit similar to the Odell Beckham Jr. situation with his dad calling out Baker Mayfield on Facebook and making out a montage of lowlights of Baker Mayfield overthrowing OBJ when he was open. You know, the writing is on the wall when it comes to what Dak Prescott is. He's a really good quarterback. And I still think he's good enough to win you a Super Bowl, but if you're the Cowboys, he's one of those QBs that you should quietly be trying to find his replacement. Because, I mean, CeeDee Lamb's mother has a point. Don't y'all think she has a point? I mean, she's not wrong. Dak isn't it. He isn't it when it comes to being a Super Bowl caliber QB. He may be good enough to maybe lead you to a Super Bowl, but I wouldn't trust him to be able to lead you to a winning one. Hell, he can't even play good in the playoffs. And you can blame Mike McCarthy. You can blame Jason Garrett. But at the end of the day, how much accountability does Dak Prescott have to have on his plate for the role that he plays in these Cowboy losses? Because, yeah, he had some great stats against Green Bay, but they were meaningless stats because the game was already over. He didn't play that way in the first half when they got down 21-0 and they needed to pass the sticks. Like, once they got down 21-0, I texted all my Cowboys friends and I said, "Hey, pass the controller over. It's time to let somebody else get a turn." And even in their loss to the 49ers last year in the previous season, yeah, it wasn't a blowout, but it still was a little bit of an ugly game when you look at how Dak Prescott folded like sandpaper in the fourth quarter with the stupid interceptions that he threw. She has a point. Dak Prescott isn't it. I think that she's been 100% facts right here in this post. And whoever says that he needs to go to the home team, go to Houston, hell yeah, he needs to go to Houston. I would love to see CeeDee Lamb and CJ Stroud. That would be one of the best wide receiver duos in the National Football League. Plus, you'll have a fully healthy Tank Dell. Oh my goodness. Imagine if the Dallas Cowboys had CJ Stroud this season. They probably would have beaten the Green Bay Packers. Dak Prescott, I don't know what it is with this dude. Anytime he gets into the postseason, he just looks like a completely different quarterback than what we see in the regular season. And the postseason isn't the same as the regular season. I had somebody told me this who used to be like an assistant coach in the NFL. He used to always say how the regular season has a different feel from the playoffs. In the playoffs, mistakes are magnified. Things are more intense on the sidelines. Every yard seems to have an impact on the game. And football is a game of inches. And once you get into the playoffs, not only is it a game of inches, but it's also a game of paying attention to the small details. Because playoff football, everybody has a good team, and everybody is pretty well coached. At least once you get to the divisional round, the teams that aren't that great, who don't have great coaching, they get bounced out early in the first round. Prime example, why the Dallas Cowboys are now in Cancun with everybody else that was in the playoffs. Because they aren't really a well-coached team. And yeah, they got a lot of talent, but they don't play up to the level of talent that they have. Hell, this is the same issue that they had with Jerry Jones. Well, with Jason Garrett, the master clapper, being their head coach a few years ago. And yeah, Mike McCarthy is better than Jason Garrett. Yeah, he's had a couple of winning seasons. He's won this division. But that shouldn't really be what the end goal is for the Dallas Cowboys. You see, the Dallas Cowboys are one of those franchises that their season, how it's defined, rather it be viewed as a success or a failure, is based on what they do in the postseason. Everybody expects them to be good in the regular season, so you can't get no props for that because that's what you're expected to do. Your expectations and what defines you is what you're going to do in the playoffs. And the Dallas Cowboys always wet the bed when they get into the postseason. And Dak Prescott is the problem with that. Or he's part of the problem. Now, can he potentially be part of the solution? Maybe if you get the right head coach. But, Dak Prescott, he deserves this. CeeDee Lamb's mother, she was spitting nothing but facts in this post. Dak ain't it. Yeah, he ain't it. That's the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. And neither is Big Mike McCarthy. But she didn't post that. But I'm going to say it. Mike McCarthy ain't it neither. And people are saying Jerry Jones is just getting up there in age. He doesn't want to go through the process again. So you're telling me that because of his age, he just is okay with mediocrity and maybe never getting to see the day that the Cowboys win another Super Bowl? Okay, cool. That's fine with me. I just thought that the Cowboys were just so much more of a franchise that they didn't tolerate mediocrity. This is America's team. You think that America's team will have the best players, the best coaches, and want to have the drive to win. And just keeping Mike McCarthy around just shows me that the Cowboys aren't serious about trying to win a Super Bowl. If you're worried about having to go through the process of hiring a new head coach, you're worried about a head coach like Bill Belichick who kind of is going to want you to keep your mouth closed. Like, I don't understand why Jerry Jones has such an ego problem. Like, why does he need to have credit? Why does he need to be in the spotlight? Like, shouldn't winning a Super Bowl matter more than that? Why do you, the whole Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones fiasco never made sense to me. Like, you were mad at Jimmy Johnson because you didn't get enough credit for the team's success? Like, what the fuck is that? Why is it that ego is such a big factor, and why these franchises that have so much talent end up underachieving every year? It makes no sense. Who cares about your ego? Like, don't you just want to win the Super Bowl? Why do you necessarily need the credit for winning a championship? Like, that makes no sense to me. Who cares, bro? Who cares if you drafted the players and you assembled the roster? It's a team effort. Unless you just want to be the GM and be the coach too. I mean, it makes no sense how ego just gets in the way of a lot of these owners making decisions. Like Mike McCarthy needs to go. If you got to sacrifice your ability to, talk to the media and your media availability because you want Bill Belichick to be the face of the team so you can win, then I think it's a pretty good sacrifice to make, honestly. But Dak Prescott, he got some harsh criticism from CeeDee Lamb's mother on the book. This kind of reminds me when I used to play high school football. And if you ever played football on any level outside of college, you know that the parents on the sidelines, some of them can get really chatty, really talkative, and have a lot of things to say to the coach when their son isn't getting a certain amount of playing time and they feel like their son could do a little bit more if they were utilized more. This is one of those situations that kind of reminds me of that. And it's ideally similar to the OBJ and Baker Mayfield situation. Now, I don't think that her post on Facebook is going to cause any tension in the locker room. Like, CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott got a pretty good relationship from what people report. And everybody in the locker room likes Dak Prescott. The team goes to war for him. He's a very likable guy. He's a great leader. It's just that when it comes to him playing well in the playoffs, for some reason, he just always unravels.